teleporting grandmothers, water rafting pop sensations, and retired droid DJs. Turns out the most magical place on Earth also has some of the most mind-blowing secrets, and we're about to expose 50 of them today here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Now, the Disney parks are well known for the care and creativity they put into those attractions and rides, but the theming doesn't stop at just the thrills and main storylines. Disney Imagineers work to add details and hidden gems throughout the decor of their rides and queues, making for some fun secrets for you to scout out during your next visit. So we got a huge list of ride secrets that we're going to go over, spanning all 4 Disney World parks, and I want to know how many of them you already knew. Now, if you want a full digital list of all these secrets to access anytime, especially if you plan on tracking them down during your upcoming trip, drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/ridesecrets for a PDF of everything we're talking about today. This will also automatically sign you up for our free newsletter, which will provide you with consistent Disney news updates every day so you can stay in the know before you go. Keep your hands, feet, and legs inside the ride at all times because things could get a little bizarre. Up first, Magic Kingdom. Okay, we're going to start with the teleporting grandmothers. So this ghoulish grandmother spends her days among the living and the dead. Check out the grandmother in the Haunted Mansion's ballroom scene. She's the one off to the side minding her own business and reading a book while the party's getting lit. Now, this is the same grandmother animatronic model used in the first scene of Carousel of Progress. Can't miss her, she's the one rocking out to the gramophone. Throughout this video, you'll see a few different instances where 2 different rides share the same animatronic model. This is something you'll see within older attractions, since creating animatronics back in the early stages of computer programming used to be a major time-consuming endeavor. But being able to use the same animatronic molds for different attractions while just changing up the paint job and costuming between the 2 helped save Imagineers oodles of time. Second ride secret on our list, Ancient Waters. So in Fantasyland today, you can go under the sea with The Little Mermaid, but between 1971 and 1994, you could go to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in a submarine voyage. Before 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine voyage closed in 1994, Imagineers bottled up some of the water from the ride, for memory's sake. Then, when Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid opened in 2012, they poured the bottle into the waters of the new attraction. Imagineers often pay tribute to former rides through the new rides that replace them by placing Easter eggs throughout the queues and ride scenes. Some of them you'd never know about unless you were told about them, aka this little bottled water fact, and some you can easily track down if you're paying close attention, like the distinctive Nautilus submarine shape you can find carved into the rock in the queue line of Journey of the Little Mermaid. But what's that in the rocks? Well, I could do a whole video on just hidden Mickeys alone because, there are hundreds of them scattered around Disney World property, but I think for the sake of this video, I'm just going to point out a few of my favorites here and there for you. Since we've already been talking about Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid, let's track down a certain special hidden Mickey here. When you're exiting the ride, look up at the group of rocks on the water. If you line them up just so, you're not going to reveal just any old Mickey, but the Steamboat Willie version. If you don't find it right away, that's okay. It takes a minute. Give yourself some time to find it. Once you do, you'll go, oh, now I see him, and it'll be great. Now, what about the spinning Snow White? Sometimes it takes a little teamwork to reveal Disney's biggest ride secrets. While you're in the inside portion of the 7 Dwarfs Mine Train queue, you'll come across a circle of 7 barrels. When you spin a barrel fast enough, you'll project one of the dancing 7 dwarfs on the ceiling, which is a fun little tidbit of info all on its own. But if you can get all 7 barrels spinning at the same time, Snow White will appear in the middle of their circle to join in on the dance party. How's that for a hidden gem? Get it? Gem barrels? That's clever stuff right there. Next, we have the Proprietor's Double Life. A Disney World ride without an overarching story is like a cliff diving penguin. It's just not going to fly. That's why Big Thunder Mountain Railroad received a little queue makeover back in 2013, which played more into the story of the haunted mine. While you're winding your way around this queue, you'll come across the picture of a handlebar mustached man with a fancy-looking cane. This is Barnabas T. Bullion, aka the proprietor of Big Thunder Mining Co., as the story goes. But outside this story, you might actually recognize the person in the picture from somewhere else. This character is actually based on Imagineer Tony Baxter, who helped design Big Thunder Mountain, along with lots of other Disney World attractions like Journey into Imagination in Epcot, Star Tours in Hollywood Studios, and Splash Mountain in Magic Kingdom. Now we got to tell you about the worst chess game ever. Here's another secret for you, but this one's a bit bone-chilling. You'll get the pun in just a second. Look down into the Q's abandoned prison cell at Pirates of the Caribbean. Turns out it's not as abandoned as you might think. There are actually 2 skeletons stuck in a game of chess. Now, because Imagineers think of everything, it's important to take note of what position the chess pieces are in. The game is set in a stalemate to represent those poor saps having to play this game for all eternity. That's a super fun one to check out while you're waiting in line. Number 7 on our list is going batty. This is one of the cutest secrets. You can't tell me otherwise. So you know how the Haunted Mansion cast members have pretty distinct costumes, aka the green frilly aprons and the gray button-up vests? Well, cast members wearing the green dress and apron will also receive an intricate white headband with a little bat resting on top. And as cute as it is to have a little pet buddy that follows you around all day long, this detail gets even better. Every cast member wearing a bat has named their bat, per cast member tradition, along with giving them a little backstory and fun personality trait or two. So the next time you see a cast member at Haunted Mansion wearing a bat, ask them about it, if they're not busy getting you on and off the Doom Buggy, of course. You might just learn some details about your new favorite Disney character. Now, next on the list, we gotta ask, is this a crossover episode? Though Mr. Toad's Wild Ride hasn't been part of Fantasyland since the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh replaced it in 1999, Mr. Toad remains in the show building to this day. As you're riding your honeypot through Owl's rickety treehouse, make sure to check out those crooked pictures on the walls. One of the rectangular frames holds a picture of Owl with his wing around a smiling Mr. Toad. And what's that Mr. Toad's holding in his hand? Why, it is the very deed to the ride building. What else could it be? Don't answer that. From what I know about that rapscallion Mr. Toad, it could honestly be a number of things. And if you thought the only ride you'd find Mr. Toad's spirit gallivanting around is the Many Adventures of the Winnie the Pooh, no, my friends, no. You see, originally at the end of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the misguided amphibian meets his untimely demise, which he still does in Disneyland, which is why you can find Mr. Toad over at Haunted Mansion today, or at least Mr. Toad's tombstone. After your time in Haunted Mansion has concluded and you've oh so graciously declined the offer to become the 1000th haunt, make sure to check out the pet cemetery toward the exit of the attraction. To the tippy top left, you'll find Mr. Toad in the cemetery as a tribute to the long gone Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Rest in peace, Mr. Toad. Sorry you had to croak like that. And that's a Bria pun alert. Okay, number 10 on our list of ride secrets in Disney World, searching for pearls. Oh, Constance, what are we going to do with you? Constance, aka the spectral bride you meet during your journey through the Haunted Mansion, has quite a dark history, particularly when it comes to her marital status. What you're going to learn during your time in the mansion is that Constance has had 5 husbands, and each have met a rather abrupt conclusion. Every time one of Constance's former loves tragically departs, another pearl necklace just so happens to appear around her neck. Total coincidence, of course, couldn't be anything else. You don't get to just see Constance in her ghostly form during this ride, though. Take a look at those pictures around the pre-show stretching room. Notice the figure with the 5 pearl necklaces? Yep, that's her. That's Constance in her corruptible mortal state, with her trusty axe in hand, just in case. And the next time someone asks you if you've seen an elephant fly, tell them multiple ways. When you board one of Dumbo's flying elephant vehicles, you probably don't think much about the flight patterns, or maybe you do. I shouldn't go assuming things. But the 2 Dumbo ride setups actually have different flight patterns. One of them flies guests around clockwise, and the other flies them counterclockwise. And there's actually a deeper meaning behind the different mechanics as well. The ride that spins clockwise represents making more memories for the future, while the ride that spins counterclockwise represents the memories you hold on to from the past. Extra fun fact, the Dumbo ride system that spins clockwise is one of a kind. All the other Dumbo ride systems around the world all feature counterclockwise spins. Oh, next we got another crossover, I think. So it seems like the mayor in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is in a bit of a pickle. So in the water interrogation scene of Pirates of the Caribbean, you'll notice the main pirate, who's busy bombarding the poor drowning mayor with questions, has a hook for a hand, while a nearby pirate playing a flute is wearing a blue striped shirt and a red cap. Does that fashion combo sound familiar to anyone else? Guess Captain Hook and Mr. Smee decided to take a break from their pursuit of Peter Pan to track down another chaotic scoundrel, Captain Jack Sparrow. Too bad the mayor ain't talking. And next on our list, who is Marty? It's always a great big beautiful tomorrow in the Carousel of Progress, and with a great big beautiful tomorrow comes a great big beautiful secret. Okay, maybe big isn't the right word. They're actually pretty easy to miss if you're not careful. In the final scene of the show, the not so futuristic future scene, look over at the bulletin board. There's a sticky note on on there that says 4 simple words. Marty called, wants changes. But who is Marty? Actually, Marty's not a character at all. He was a real-life Imagineer, of course, named Marty Sklar, who oversaw a lot of Epcot's development. Apparently, he was known for being quite the picky guy and often asked for changes and redos when it came to different designs and concepts. But hey, they got the park done nonetheless. Still, the little passive-aggressive sticky note, funny stuff. And how's about one more Carousel of Progress secret? There's many, but we'll stick to these for now. In the first scene of Carousel of Progress, aka the turn of the 20th century, the narrator, John, comments on the chirping robins outside his window. But those birds are lots more famous than you may realize. Those very robins are the same animatronics used in the Mary Poppins movie during the Spoonful of Sugar musical number. That's right, they've been directly sung to by Julie Andrews herself, the Queen, Lucky Birds. And this next guy, he cannot catch a break. I can't help feeling sorry for the gravedigger in the Haunted Mansion. Even with his trusty dog at his side, he still seems weak in the knees once all the grim-grinning ghosts come out to socialize. But this poor man's struggles don't stop there. Originally, you could find the gravedigger, same face and all, being chased up a pole by a rhino over at the Jungle Cruise. But in 2021, the Jungle Cruise got a facelift, meaning all the animatronics have now been updated to look more polished. Each of these Jungle Cruise characters also have new backstories that tie into the overarching SEA, or Society of Explorers and Adventurers. There's another hidden secret for you. And that's a storyline that weaves throughout all the Disney parks around the world. Now, our former gravedigger pal is known in the Jungle Cruise as Felix Peckman XIII and is the skipper for the rest of the explorers who have also found themselves chased up a pole by a rhino. How unfortunate. Now, next on our list, we're going to talk about a really classic attraction. Prince Charming Regal Carousel might not be your number one must-do ride, but it is a beaut and worth a spin if the line isn't too long. Funny enough, though, this carousel is actually older than Magic Kingdom itself. Walt Disney wanted to make sure Magic Kingdom had a large and dazzling and grandiose carousel for his brand new park, so Imagineers were sent on a quest to find this fantastical contraption that would actually fit his vision. And their mission proved successful because according to the D23 website, they found the perfect carousel at Olympic Park in Maplewood, New Jersey. And they found it just in the nick of time too, since it was slated for demolition. Though the carousel had been an attraction at Olympic Park since 1928, the ride dated itself all the way back to 1917 when it was built by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. I must say, Prince Charming Regal Carousel looks very good for its age, don't you agree? Okay, next we're going to go to Disney's Animal Kingdom, and we're going to start with a very glowing exit. So are you done being thoroughly traumatized by the It's Tough to Be a Bug attraction located inside the Tree of Life? No, you're not. Because after Hopper threatens your life, an insect stings your backside, and spiders drop down from the ceiling, you've got one final thrill to endure, and that's the creepy crawlies exiting the theater before you do, right underneath your derriere. But that's not the secret. That's actually the distraction from the secret I want to point out. If you're not shrieking over the fact that it feels like a bunch of bugs just crawled past your butt, then turn your attention to the exit sign. You'll be able to see a swarm of fireflies zipping past it as they exit too. A nice peaceful contrast to, everything else going on. Now, it's time to go back to a big ol' Hidden Mickey. Hidden Mickeys are super fun to track down, but some feel like cheater pumpkin eaters, meaning no matter how hard we try to find them, the only way we'll actually see them is through pretty wild circumstances. Take the Expedition Everest ride, for example. The only way you're going to see the massive Expedition Everest Hidden Mickey in person is if you're hovering directly above the mountain like a bird or a plane or Superman. That's because the Expedition Everest ride itself, with its mountain and wrapping curving roller coaster tracks, creates a giant Hidden Mickey. Now, James Cameron, John Landau, and Joe Rohde. What do these three names have in common? All three people have had a hand in bringing Flight of Passage and Pandora World of Avatar in general to life, which is why it's so fitting for each of them to leave a hand behind. A handprint, that is. Good grief, got morbid there for a second. James Cameron was the director of the film Avatar, John Landau was the producer, and Joe Rohde was the main Imagineer behind this entire Animal Kingdom expansion. So when you're exiting the Flight of Passage ride, you can find these creatives' red handprints along with their initials on a cement wall to your right. Now, I don't always see this when I exit. Sometimes they send you out along different hallways. It depends on which kind of theater you're in for your ride. ride, but you might see them. Definitely keep an eye out for them. And happy birthday to you! The Flight of Passage writing on the wall doesn't stop at the red handprints. When you first go into the caves of the Flight of Passage queue, you'll probably notice archaic-looking writing and pictures sketched into the stony walls. One section features writing that simply says J.C. Soaring 08/16/54. But once again, Disney doesn't just throw random numbers into their ride theming for any old reason. The JC stands for James Cameron, and the numbers represent his birthday. Anybody else out there born on August 16th? If so, you and James Cameron are basically twins. Now, Kilimanjaro Safaris is next. It takes you on an epic ride to see tons of animals: hippos, giraffes, lions, elephants. But did you know you could also see a mouse? Take a look at that island the flamingos are chilling on. Do you see what I see? Yep, it's a giant hidden Mickey. Hope he doesn't mind being stepped on daily by a bunch of flamingos. And now this next one is super fun, and I had no idea about it. It would make sense if 80s pop sensation Michael Jackson made a cameo in Epcot, right? After all, his 3D short film Captain EO used to play in the theater where the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival happens now. But if you're in the queue for Kali River Rapids, you need to check out that mural in the last room. On the wall, you'll find a painting of Michael Jackson riding along on his own Kali River raft. Just look at him, having such a good time. But why Michael Jackson? Why is he floating his merry little way through the heart of Asia? Well, because this was his favorite Disney World ride of all time. No joke. That's why the Imagineers commemorated his adoration with this fun little tribute. And we're heading back to Kilimanjaro Safaris just to dry off a little bit. Kilimanjaro Safaris might have a similar spiel each time you ride it, but the journey itself is always going to be different thanks to the real-life animals you cross paths with along the way. On one ride through, you might get to wave at the hyenas, and on the next, you might say hello to the African dogs, but one thing's for sure, you'll never get to see both at the same time. Although the hyenas and African dogs share the same spot in the savannah area, they take turns occupying the area. Either way, they're cute as a button, but from a distance. Now, I don't care who you are, sometimes the only thing that sounds good is McDonald's. And between 1998 and 2008, some of us might remember that Disney shared the same sentiment and had sponsorship ties with McDonald's. That's right, back then you could get Mickey D's, chicken nugs, and fries, and life was practically perfect in every way. But after the sponsorship ended, and so did the fries and nugs, there were some parts of a McDonald's partnership with Disney that stuck around. Just for our sake, I reckon. Gives us another little secret for you guys to snoop out. When you're in line for Dinosaur, check out the red, yellow, and white pipes. Each one has a different formula, but these formulas don't have anything to do with the prehistoric journey you're about to embark on. They're actually the formulas for the chemical makeup of ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, lingering from the days when McDonald's used to sponsor the ride. Why are they still there? Who knows, but fun to check out. Now it's time for the mystery of the mistaken mountain identity. Expedition Everest Legend of the Forbidden Mountain is not who you think it is. Expedition Everest isn't actually supposed to be Mount Everest. Stay with me here. I know it's weird, but no, it's just weird. The mountain is actually the Forbidden Mountain, hence the full title of the ride that everyone cuts short because it's a mouthful. The Forbidden Mountain is a fictional mountain you have to reach in order to get to Everest and ultimately the Yeti. The peak to the right of the mountains is actually supposed to be Everest. Learn something new every day, right? And a picture is worth 1,000 banshees. So this odd secret doesn't have anything to do with the Pandora rides themselves, but more so focuses on how you track down Flight of Passage and Navi River Journey when you're in this area. Normally, Disney rides have pretty clear signs telling you what ride or attraction you're about to enter, but not in Pandora. You'll only see the standby and lightning lanes here, but there's no flashy sign telling you this way to ride a banshee. Instead, Pandora keeps up its immersive theming by using hand-woven totems to represent the rides you're about to go on. One totem represents the Shaman of Songs, which is perched outside Navi River Journey, while the other totem has a flying banshee, which is perched outside the only other ride left in Pandora, Flight of Passage. Okay, 2 parks down, 2 to go. Don't worry about writing any of these down. Remember, we've already got them raring to go for you. Drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/ridesecrets and we'll send it right to you. Okay, on to Epcot. Okay, Rhea has titled this secret, Not Now, Arctic Puffin, which I love because if you've seen Elf, well, you know why I love it. But if you visited Epcot when Maelstrom was still up and running in the Norway Pavilion, then you probably remember the puffins and polar bears and tree trolls that sent you backwards over the falls, right? Back over the falls. Okay, you guys remember that, right? but mostly the puffins. Frozen Ever After replaced the Maelstrom boat ride back in 2016, cue the tears, but not all of Maelstrom disappeared for good. For starters, you still board the same boats from the old ride as an homage to the history of the attraction and the Norwegian culture, or maybe just cost savings. And secondly, the puffins lived on. After Marshmallow lets you go down the final ride hill, the little puffins will greet you at the bottom. Good to see you again, little guys, but no oil rigs. And I know you're probably antsy waiting in line for Test Track. Who has time to hunt down secrets when you've got a need for speed? But when you make your way into the efficiency room of the queue, don't forget to look at the URL printed on the schematics. If you type that URL into your phone's browser, it's going to lead you to a JPEG of Mickey Mouse. That's right, hidden Mickeys have hit the digital world. Sorry for those of you who thought I was leading you to a website with a foolproof car design to help you win your upcoming Test Track race. That would be very cool, but you're going to have to learn that for yourself. And now it's time to talk about Andrew Jackson in a spaceship. Time for some more animatronic clones. When you go to the Hall of Presidents in Magic Kingdom, there are a lot of animatronics to behold, 46 on one stage to be exact. But if you do a double take of President Andrew Jackson, he might look a bit familiar if you've already visited Epcot during your trip. The same animatronic skins used to build President Jackson were also used to shape the man hard at work in the printing press scene on Spaceship Earth. Got some nice hair going on there, President Jackson. Now, we're going to head over to Journey into Imagination. In the OG version of this ride, our imaginative dragon friend Figment used to be all buddy-buddy with that cool red-bearded dude named the Dreamfinder, instead of the creepy moon-faced Dr. Nigel Channon. Though Dreamfinder is no longer around, sadly, his spirit carries on through the power of Imagineering Easter eggs. When you're walking through the queue, you'll notice some purple office doors lining the walls. One of those doors is for a man who goes by the name of Dean Finder. I think we all know who's really behind that door. And it's Hidden Mickey time again. While you're riding through Figment's upside-down open house, do a double take near the toilet. After you've finished wondering how on earth the toilet water stays inside the porcelain throne from that angle, notice how the dots on the rug connect just so. Those dots, along with the toilet bowl, work together to make the head of our good pal, Mick. Now wait, we're in Epcot right now, so why are we also looking at Hollywood Studios? When you're standing across from the Morocco Pavilion on the other side of World Showcase Lagoon, take a moment to admire the architecture. At first glance, you might be saying, yeah, cool, it's beautiful, what's the secret? Take another glance. Are there any extra structures you noticed this time around? Now you might be going, wait a minute, is that Tower of Terror? And yes, it is. When Imagineers were building Disney's Hollywood Studios, they knew Tower of Terror would stick out like a sore thumb from the perspective of the World Showcase, which is why they picked that faded red color scheme for the hotel. They wanted the thrill ride's design to match the other buildings in Morocco when viewed from a distance. Tower of Terror is always watching you, Wazowski, always watching. Now, here we go. Another one of Orlando's infamous afternoon rain showers. Come to drench us for 15 minutes and then leave without even apologizing. Rude. But if you can make it to Spaceship Earth before the downpour, you'll stay dry as a desert. How? Well, aside from the structure being massive, there's also a giant drainage system built into this geodesic sphere park icon. Underneath each panel on Spaceship Earth is a system of trenches and gutters. This system funnels the rainwater through the drains and into World Showcase Lagoon. So if rain is forecasted, make your way to Spaceship Earth ASAP. Now it's time to go back to the future. Before it was the Vomitron 3000, we mean Mission Space, this building was occupied by my favorite Omnimover ride called Horizons, which was basically like a sequel to Carousel of Progress over in Magic Kingdom. Instead of exploring the decades of the past, you got to travel into an exciting future of exploration and high-tech devices. Now, though Horizons is no longer with us, rest in peace, Mission Space pays tribute to its predecessor through that giant spinning wheel on the right-hand side of the queue. Trust me, you can't miss it. In the center of the wheel is the old Horizons logo. And I'm just waiting for the day that Disney rebuilds this ride and World of Motion, because I do want World of Motion back. Okay, time to talk fruits and veggies, and one of the best rides in Epcot. So technically, Disney doesn't try to keep this one a secret, but it's still a fun fact that manages to shock people time and again. On Living with the Land, you'll take a 15-minute boat ride that leads you into the Epcot greenhouses. Now, these greenhouses grow nearly 30 tons of fruit and vegetables each year, but what does Disney do with these harvests? They use them for their nearby restaurants. So if you eat at the Garden Grill Character Restaurant or the Sunshine Seasons Quick Service, you're going to be able to try some of this fresh, yummy produce yourself. Now, these fruits and veggies are also used at several other restaurants and quick services around Disney World, including some of the outdoor gardens for Epcot's seasonal festivals. And I don't know, I always thought that was super cool when I was a kid. I guess I was a giant nerd. And hold on, now it's time for me to put on my Patrick Warburton hat. Hello, my name's AJ, and I'll be your Chief Disney Secrets attendant today. When you're about to go airborne, you'll be assigned a flight. Now, in the pre-show, you'll be able to see a lot of flights going from place to place all around the world. But your specific flight is called Flight 5505. And no, this isn't a special number because of all the fives. It's special because all this represents Soarin's opening date, May 5th, 2005. Anything else? Oh yeah, have a nice flight. How did I do? Did I sound like Patrick? Okay, cool. Now, Mickey can't have all the fun here. We gotta find a hidden rat. Instead of hidden Mickeys, you can find hidden Remys around Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in the France Pavilion. Some hidden Remys can be found in the ironwork of the black fence and the sewer drains. Oh, and you can also find little ratty paw prints outside the queue. What other hidden Remys will you be able to find? But heads up, the Remys in the ironwork of the fence are very, very hard to actually see. And by see, I mean get your brain around where they are. So we'll outline them for you here. And here we go to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Time to give a little whistle. You're about to hear a ton of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway secrets because this ride's chock full of them. But the first one is actually the first one Disney told us about a long, long time ago before the ride even opened. When you're riding along in Goofy's train, a locomotive where nothing could possibly go wrong because it's Goofy we're talking about here, listen very closely for the train's whistle. Now, if you recognize that song, it's because it's the exact same whistle used in Mickey Mouse's first animated short, Steamboat Willie. And next, we got to talk about our DJ droid friend. Listen, R3X has quite the past, what with being a pilot for Star Tours until 2011 when C-3PO graciously took over. At first, R3X's retirement was pretty sad. He just kind of laid low in the out-of-commission droid area within the queue of Star Tours. Although you can still find him there now, he doesn't just stick around Star Tours anymore. Now he's got another gig that calls him to the line of duty, and it's DJing over at Oga's Cantina in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So the next time you're grabbing a fuzzy tauntaun or bantha milk from Oga's, give DJ Rex a little wave for us and tell him he's doing a good job keeping those beats funky fresh. Next, we're headed to the Twilight Zone. Now, as you know, the Twilight Zone aired its first episode on October 2nd, 1959. And on October 31st, 1939, the Hollywood Tower Hotel was struck by lightning, as the story goes. Now, much like many of the Disney World rides, Tower of Terror is riddled with a ton of little Easter eggs, and two of my favorites have to do with those oh-so-important dates. When you board the elevator, check the right-hand side. There you'll find a permit to operate certificate. That giant state ID number up top, 10259. Sound familiar? Yep, that's right. That's the date of the first Twilight Zone episode. And right underneath that, the date of the elevator's last inspection just so happens to be, oh, looky here, Halloween of 1939, aka the night of the lightning strikes. One more little secret resides on this certificate, though, and it's actually a pretty big secret. Turns out this elevator was inspected by Cadwallader, the devil character that makes his big debut in the Twilight Zone episode titled The Escape Clause. Okay, maybe that's enough Tower of Terror secrets for now. But psych, here are more Tower of Terror secrets because they're so much fun. When you're hanging out in the Tower of Terror queue next to the bellhop service desk, you'll probably notice some folded up pieces of paper hanging out around the dust and neglect. These pieces of paper are actually messages written by the former Tower of Terror cast members. It started with the original cast members, but the tradition has been passed down to every Twilight Zone cast member since. Now, new cast members get the chance to read the letters of former Haunted Hotel staff. Then, when the time comes for them to move on to their next adventure, those cast members will leave behind their own note for the next group to read. Pretty heartwarming tradition in such a grim setting, eh? Okay, for serious, we're moving on from the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror stuff now. I'm not joking, I'm serious. We're gonna go next door to Rock and Roller Coaster, and all Rock and Roller Coaster Super Stretch limos are created to have their own personality. Each has a different license plate and different Aerosmith song that rocks out during the course of your ride. However, the Rock and Roller Coaster limo that plays the song Love in an Elevator has a super sneaky change that you might not catch if you're busy screaming your throat raw after that 0 to 60 launch. The lyrics for the song have switched up specifically automatically for the ride. Instead of love in an elevator, you'll hear love in a roller coaster blasting through the vehicle's speakers. Oh, and also listen closely the next time you're in line for this high-speed rock and roller coaster. The names being called over the PA aren't just names plucked from thin air. Those are the names of Imagineers who worked on the ride, aka they're totally radical people, dude. Now let's go to the movies. Oh wait. On August 13th, 2017, the Great Movie Ride gave its last run in the replica Grauman's Chinese Theater, and that loss is still mourned by many Great Movie Ride fans to this day. But in its place arose Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is sprinkled with not only Easter eggs, but some cute little tributes to our former Great Movie Ride friend. Take the carnival scene, for instance, because between the hot dog stand and the popcorn stand, you'll find a poster advertising a little attraction called the Great Moving Ride. Blink and you'll whiz right past it, so be careful. This detail both makes me happy and saddens my heart at the same time. But we've got a little barbershop quartet Easter egg for you at Mickey and Minnie's to brighten the mood a little bit. In the very first ride scene to your right, a quadruplet tandem bike with 4 colorful passengers whizzes past. Check out what they're wearing. Flat top hats, striped vests, each a different color. If you're now feeling the sudden urge to listen to some barbershop quartet music, that's because these spiffy little fellows are dressed to the nines like our favorite Dapper Dans in Magic Kingdom's Main Street, USA. And of course, we're going to get some Muppets in here next. You might think it's a little dated and cheesy, or you might call it an underappreciated masterpiece, but whatever the case may be for you, there's no arguing that Muppet Vision 3D is littered with fun secrets and punny Easter eggs. The fun begins right when you enter the queue. See that Muppet Vision door? The one that has a sign saying back in 5 minutes, key is under the mat? They're not lying. Lift the doormat and reveal the key. Sorry, you can't actually pick it up and use it or anything, but it's super fun to find nonetheless. And more Muppet secrets, more. I'm not going to give them all away, otherwise that'll add like another hour to this video. But I do want to point out another favorite of mine, which has to do with what's dangling from the ceiling of the pre-show room. At first, the gelatinous squares resting in a screen bag just look like quirky Muppets decor, but then if you call it what it really is, a net full of Jell-O, the pun starts to reveal itself. Let me repeat that, a net full of Jell-O. Get it? It's an Easter egg to the late Annette Funicello, one of Walt Disney's original Mouseketeers who appeared several times in the TV series The Magical World of Disney, as well as several other shows and movies throughout her career, of course. Now, is this an unlucky number or a very lucky number? There will always be a wait time posted for Tower of Terror. Yep, we're back here. It doesn't matter if you're magically the only person on Sunset Boulevard. The wait time will never say 0, even if you're going to be the sole guest in line for the ride. Instead, Disney disguises the 0-minute wait times for Tower of Terror as the unlucky number 13, just for funsies. They also do the same thing over at Haunted Mansion in Magic Kingdom. So the next time you see that big 1-3 posted on the standby entrance sign, walk right on in and onto the ride if you dare. Now, if you've ever ridden Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and got off going, that was very cool and all, but needed more Wookiee representation, then this is the secret you've been waiting for all of your life. You can replace Hondo Ohnaka as your co-pilot with Chewie if you play your cards right. First and foremost, you're going to have to work as a team to pull this one off. So once you've informed everyone in your ride party about what's about to go down, everyone can take their positions and get to work. Pilots, you're going to need to move your controls to the far left or right and far up or down before pushing the activation button. For the rest of the crew, you're going to need to hit one of the white buttons on your controls before hitting the orange activation button. When you hear Chewbacca's famous growl project through the hunk-a-junk speakers, you'll know you've pulled it off. Now, come on, Chewie, let's go get that coaxium. And one more Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway secret, just because this one's precious. It's easy to get caught up in the main storyline of this ride because it's pretty straightforward. A track switch gets bumped, your train cart goes on the fritz, and the gang's trying to get you back on course before it's too late. But there's another story going on while the main story's unfolding, and it all has to do with the goodest boy around, Pluto. After Pluto and Minnie's picnic basket are accidentally ejected from Mickey's car during the pre-show, you can find Pluto desperately trying to catch up to your train while still carrying the picnic basket during the entire course of the ride. After all, Mickey and Minnie's afternoon picnic must be saved. If it's your first time riding Mickey and Minnie's, I'd recommend still keeping an eye on Plot A for your first go-around, but after that, it's a lot of fun to keep tabs on our loyal yellow friend. You can find him in every room. All right, do you feel like the master of all things Disney secrets yet? Of course, there are lots more than 50 ride secrets strewn throughout Disney World that are just waiting for you to uncover. So keep your eyes peeled and stay alert during your upcoming vacation. You never know what you might stumble upon that you can use as a conversation piece at your next family get-together. Now, if you want another 50 Secrets video, we're happy to do it. We got lots more, so let us know in the comments if you'd like to see another one. One last reminder, if you want this complete 50 Ride Secrets list to access whenever, wherever, drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/ridesecrets, and we'll send you this whole list right to your inbox. We'll also sign you up for that newsletter with even more Disney-based secrets to share. Keep in mind, you can unsubscribe from that newsletter at any time. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.